All right, everybody, what is up? Welcome. And before we get into it, I just got one song to play, and here we go. Yes, indeed. Brawley, do you want to tell us what we saw at the end of this fucking movie?
We are getting a third movie. We are getting the best character in the Sonic series. All hail Shadow. That's all I gotta say.
So I know, okay, this is a spoiler discussion, and I know we're opening up the gate right out the gate with freaking a huge spoiler, but we're that excited. Obviously, we're gonna talk about the movie, but the post-credit scene, we get a full-ass glimpse of the entirety of the new, like, of the render for Shadow.
We showed them all. Showed them in model, everything.
Everything.
He didn't talk, but they showed him.
And
showed him all. They showed him open his eyes.
yeah. And so, so we'll talk about how all that leads up, but just had to get it out there because holy shit, it is. I couldn't believe it. I really, me and Brawley were talking about it before we were gonna head over to the movie theater. We were just talking about what more could, because they had confirmed that the third movie was already starting its development, or it was already confirmed, if anything. And I was just talking to Brawley about what we thought could lead from the end of this movie. Like, what could we get? What we're gonna have Metal Sonic? What we're gonna have some sort of like extension of the Master Emerald? I mean, I didn't even know if Knuckles was going to, be on our side at the end of the movie. So there were just a lot of things that you could think about when they announced already a third movie. It was awesome. I can't wait for the third one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we can start talking about the movie itself and just our overall thoughts, and then we can go into small little parts of here and there what we thought stood out, some things that maybe weren't so great, and then we can talk about the finale and how things unfolded. So I'll kick it off with Broly first. Broly, you can go ahead and talk about just how'd you feel about the movie? What'd you think?
The movie was great. It was a big surprise seeing the first movie. We probably should have watched it again, but I mean, it's still fresh in our memories because we watched it, and it's kind of crazy because the first movie came out right before the pandemic hit, and then all these years later, now after slowing down, the pandemic slowing down, people are going out a little bit more, and now Sonic 2 is here. And all the cast comes back. Everyone, you got Jim Carrey as Robotnik, Ben Schwartz as Sonic, or voice of Sonic. And my expectations for this movie was like, I just was interested. I think I wish I wouldn't have found out that they were making a third movie, because I feel like I knew, okay, there's gonna be a continuation. I knew there's something's brewing. They're gonna set up something. So like, how like second movies usually are like setups for the final act. So I was kind of like, I wish I didn't know, but it happened. And I was just like, characters were so good. It was, whenever you go to these kind of movies that you have a lot of passion for, or you have a lot of care for, you're always interested in seeing what they change. Because it's Hollywood, and it's like actors, and Idris Elba as Knuckles, so it's like you got these A-listers that are coming into this movie, and I was kind of like, okay, I hope they don't go too off the rails with this. But no, they did everything. Everything about this movie was so enjoyable. You have the jokes. We're of elderly age, not elder, but we're like in our 30s, and it's great because there's definitely jokes that are aimed for kids in this movie, but you still sprinkle in with jokes that we would understand and we get a laugh at it. And there was definitely moments that we had some good times with this movie, especially with Jim Carrey and Sonic doing their clips and stuff like that. But overall, the movie was great. It was a smash hit. Just in my opinion, probably just as good as the first one. I would have to really think about the first and second one, and see what I can like nitpick to see which one's better. But so blown away by the story and the introduction of Tails, introduction of Knuckles. I will say, this is a spoiler review. I kind of didn't like the way they brought in Tails because it was literally just copy and paste from the first movie's post credit, and they just put it in here. Like it was kind of like we saw the scene again where he hops out of the ring. He's like, oh, my readings is accurate. He should be here or something, you know. So, but overall, love the movie from top to bottom, and yeah, really excited for Sonic 3.
Yeah, for me, I think that it's about the same for me when it comes to the opinion of how it holds up compared to the first one. I think they're both equally around the same enjoyment level. Obviously, I think this one, it has more of the things I love from the Sonic series. So it's like, I like, you know, leaving the theater, I'm already feeling like, you know, that hit home so well. Like, it was really cool to see the characters together on screen together, and that's something the first movie can't offer because it was just about Sonic. And I thought the movie was charming. There was really nice scenes. There was one scene with Tails and Sonic after if you can see the trailer, that scene where they're dressed up in their like snow gear. They have a little bit of a showdown in that tavern that they show up at. And there was a really touching scene between them. It shows just how much Tails cares about Sonic and how much Tails looks up to Sonic as like a hero and as somebody who's inspired by Sonic. And it was really touching. That scene like really made this movie like, oh man, this feels great. Like, it's so cool to see these characters come into their own on the big screen. Even though we get like small bits of their story throughout the games that we play. Obviously, there's a cartoon Sonic X that does a lot of that too, but it was just nice to have the translation to big screen, and it be so just true to the characters and very. It just captures them so well, and obviously, I'm so glad that Feline got to come back. I mean, not come back to the movie, but just the character Tails, and was able to portray Tails in the movie. Amazing voice actress, and she does a great job of capturing Tails. And yeah, I think overall the movie I had so much fun. There were a lot of moments where I was just kind of like in shock that like this was all happening. And then on top of that, there were some moments in the movie that I felt were a little unneeded, or maybe just didn't hit the mark as well as it could have. Some song choices throughout some of the segments could have been better. I had the same complaint with the first Sonic movie. I think that that has a lot to do with just Hollywood. Hollywood wants to throw in these like #1 hit singles because that's what appeals to the younger audience and something like that. But I do think that overall, the pros outweigh the cons, and I think when you have Sonic and Tails working together, it felt real natural and fun. Knuckles and Idris Elba voicing Knuckles was really cool. It really brought back that older excitement of Knuckles, because over the time, like I want to say right after Sonic Adventure 2, Knuckles kind of fell into this just kind of dopey side character that was strong. And in this movie, he is kind of dopey in a couple of ways, because he's from a different planet, coming to Earth, and he doesn't understand everything. But he still had that like fierceness and that badass sort of like energy to him, and it was cool to see Knuckles like that on the big screen for sure. And then once again, Ben Schwartz as Sonic, he did an amazing job at capturing his like spunkiness, his childlike demeanor, his excitement. You know, how he would react to really important things happening in the world around him. There was one scene where, you know, you really did feel for him, where he's talking about, the owl's name is Longclaw, right?
Yes.
He was reacting to a hologram of Longclaw, and he's just kind of like, I won't let you down, and I'm really trying. And you get that sort of vulnerable moment of Sonic that's really nice. And to top it all off, it might be, it's definitely going to have to be a rewatch, and maybe like I'll probably watch the first movie again, But I really did feel like, unfortunately, even though we got the bald head and the crazy mustache from Jim Carrey as Eggman, I think that he felt a little too zany in this movie compared to the last. And he was kind of zany in the first movie, but this one was like, oh, he was stranded on a fungus mushroom planet for 200 days or something. Um, and it made him go a little bit more zany or something. Maybe that's the angle they were shooting for. But he was very Saturday morning villain, and I think that while I would rather Robotnik be a little bit more menacing and serious in tone, obviously this is a movie catered for kids, and I think that the kids would probably really like the way he acted and the things that he did and how he would make faces. There's one scene in particular that sticks out to me. It's after Knuckles and him show up to the house. Robotnik jumps on to the car that they're escaping in, and he starts like barking and licking the glass. And Sonic's like, "Oh my god, he's gone rabid," and he's clawing at the glass and stuff. And it's just like, you think of the Robotnik from the adventure games, and you're kind of like, okay, that's a little extra. But if you think about it like Sonic X style, then yeah, it's a little bit more in that vein. But all in all, I mean, I really liked the movie. I thought it was great. I thought that as a sequel, it really held up to the excitement of introducing Knuckles. And my god, that post-credit scene gets me even more excited for exactly how they're going to handle the next chapter of this live-action Sonic movie franchise. But yeah, I guess from here we can go into just small scenes here and there that might have stood out to us. Brawley, was there something that you wanted to talk about, or anything that you wanted to pinpoint that you really, really liked, or maybe even things that you didn't like?
I mean, I really liked the introduction of Knuckles. I don't know who were those people that he was with. They never really explained that, or whoever came out of the ring. That was how Robotnik got off the planet Mushroom. Was able to create this big pulse with the blue quill, and I think Knuckles has been trying to find Sonic, and so since the quill is Sonic, he thinks he found him, and he opens this portal with the ring to the planet Mushroom. But there's like these three like goons that come out. They're masked. They kind of have like, I thought they had like owl masks, right, or something. I don't know.
Yeah, a little bit.
And like they get disposed of easy. Like Robotnik sets up traps, or I'm gonna be saying Robotnik and Eggman a lot. They're the same character. And he gets rid of them, and then Knuckles shows up and basically like sees the blue quill, and that's how they start their partnership. He's like, I can tell you where they are. They're on Earth, and that's how Robotnik gets back to Earth, is Knuckles' help. I really like the introduction. I really like the first fight that they have at the house. It was really cool to see, Knuckles really display a lot of power and really, go toe to toe with Sonic when Sonic is trying to use his power against him. He's just stopping him, and they don't really. I guess it was a little odd because in later fights, it seemed like Sonic was getting the upper hand on Knuckles, and they don't really explain it. You kind of like just say, well, heroes are gonna win, and it's a kids movie, so you kind of have to like let it go. So I guess that's a little bit of a downer, not so much. I don't really care too much about that, but yeah, the fight scenes were pretty cool. Eggman, like you touched on, Vash, was pretty, like, he was just very quip heavy. He was just like, everything had to be a joke or like some kind of weird witty insult, or speak another language kind of thing, like I'm superior. Like that's what I wanted. In the first movie, he was more like, I'm superior than you, I'm better than you, I'm smarter than you, and he kept, that's how he was funny. And this one, he just kind of like calling people idiots and like using them, and like, it's villain stuff, but it's kind of like, I wish he would tone down the zany part of his character just a little bit. But I'm not gonna complain. I love Jim Carrey. I don't care if he does in the third movie. I'm gonna love watching him act and do all this crazy stuff, because I've grown up with him doing all these kind of things. So it's cool. Tails was really, really cool. I'm so glad they brought back the voice actress for the games of Tails. She did really well. Obviously, was in the character. It literally just felt like They got Tails from the game and put it in the movie, and that was it. Like, there was really no difference other than like this Tails had more gadgets. It seems like it had, like lasers, and at one point started creating copies of himself. Like
I thought the expansiveness of Tails' gadgets and the things that he created were like just even more interesting that I've seen in the games. I thought that the Tails gets introduced basically by saying that he pinpointed Sonic's energy from the baseball field scene in the first movie.
Right.
And that he was basically watching everything unfold from his home planet from the first movie. And Sonic's like, oh, everything? Like, even when I showered and stuff? And then he's like, oh, well, Sonic doesn't shower. He takes bubble baths. And he's like, oh, you're good. And so, they made a little, poked a little fun about the idea of Tails watching from afar. But Tails... I just really liked his interaction. Tails does come off as a little bit of a fanboy, but that's just how Tails is, pretty much. He thinks Sonic's the number one. Sonic's the end all be all of like a hero, and Tails does a good job of showcasing his admiration for Sonic in this movie, and also he does a good job of showing just how Sonic's ability to perform and to go above and beyond is something that inspired Tails to even leave his planet. And we get a lot of the similarities between the three of them, to be honest. Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles all have this kind of like common feeling within them of just loneliness in a way. Tails says that his home planet and the people there made fun of him for his extra tail, and he never really felt like he fit in anywhere. And he kind of saw that Sonic was also kind of this, anomaly, a bit of a weird person compared to everyone around him, and he found that similarity. And then Knuckles, in a different way, Knuckles was he's the last Echidna, and he has no family now. He doesn't have anybody that he really knows to look to, or he doesn't really know what he's trying to protect other than the Master Emerald and trying to get it back because of the squabbles that we learn about with the owls, the owl people that Longclaw's from, and the Echidna basically having this ongoing war for like ever, like The Rock and Vin Diesel.
Yeah, that was a joke that said it was, they mentioned The Rock and Vin Diesel in it.
And so I think that Tails did great. There comes a point in the movie because you're introducing Tails, but you're also giving us Knuckles. So it's like it can't just be the Sonic and Tails movie, and that's just them growing as people together. We get great scenes like that, but it's not the whole movie, because we also have the Knuckles and Eggman stuff going on. We get a lot of Dr. Stone getting Eggman back up to speed on Earth. We also get the introduction of Gun, which from the video games, Gun is like basically a task force that is very, very closely tied to both battling Robotnik and Sonic in a way.
I wonder if they're only in Adventure 2. I don't know if they're in Adventure 1. Yeah, I know they're in Adventure 2, and I don't really pay attention to like the lore of the games, or I haven't played Heroes in a while. I don't think they come out in Colors or the Sonic Boom game. So like seeing them being introduced to this was like my first hint that Shadow was coming. It was like, okay, the internet, like if they're gonna go Gun, this is Sonic Adventure 2 territory.
Yeah.
And it was such a unique way that they introduced them, because the whole human side of this whole movie was about sister of the wife getting married, and they all went to they're basically doing their wedding in Hawaii. So that's the whole reason why the humans are kind of like, the Donut Lord and Maddie went to Hawaii to do this wedding thing. And so Sonic gives one of the rings to Donut Lord and says, hey Tom, he's like, hey, like if I ever, just have it just in case for emergency. So the emergency was, hey, we're about to die. Long story short, they're about to die. please summon us back to Hawaii. And it all ended up being a ruse. Tom brings back Tails and Knuckles. Tails and Sonic. Tails is knocked out, and all of a sudden the wedding was all fake, and everybody was agent to Gun, and they said, "Oh, we are part of." What was the name of it? It was like government.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just some explanation of Gun into being Gun. But yeah, it was called like government unified like like I don't know, something like that. It was some weird acronym explanation. But even the character, the sister, she's like, Gun, really? And she's like, yeah. I mean, the general guy's like, yeah, Gun. That's what it is.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just cool. It's cool to see them actually include Gun, especially in the first. In the first movie, we were like, "Oh man, he was running through the city with like a truck and stuff. Like that would have been sick if it was Gun." But moving on from the whole Gun inclusion, talking about the humans just a little bit. The human characters in the movie, I feel like were handled really, really well. Same thing with the first movie, where obviously we have more characters like Tails and Knuckles in this one, so we don't have enough time to focus on the humans, and that's fine because a lot of people, I know when it comes to a lot of these like video game movies, we're like, we don't really care about the human stuff. We just want to know more about, the characters and the fun part. And I felt like this movie handled it well. The two characters from the first movie, the husband and wife of Donut Lord, they're on a trip to Hawaii for the sister's wedding. And it was handled really well because we end up being pretty close to the finale battleground because it's like off of the shore of Hawaii, out in the middle of the ocean, which is works out really well. But I think that the characters were handled well. We had small scenes where they were trying to help Sonic grow and make him understand that he wants to be a hero, but he can't just jump into it. It has to like happen over time with experience and with the right feeling and the right moment. And I think that overall I didn't really get put off by whenever the humans would show up. There were a couple scenes here and there that maybe weren't needed, especially one with there's this like long drawn out revenge scene that makes the sister look super badass, which it was a funny scene, but it just hangs around a bit too long. She's trying to get revenge on the guy who was undercover pretending to get married to her. And it just kind of went on for a bit, and it's like a whole... he's like, oh, I fell in love undercover, and that's like the first rule. You don't fall in love. And they end up getting back together anyway. But that scene was there, and then there was another one where Wade is capturing Dr. Stone in the Mean Bean coffee shop that opened up in Green Hill. And there's just stuff like that maybe didn't need to be there, but it didn't bother me enough to where I'm like, okay, let's get this over with. It was fine. And I guess we can go. So you talk about one thing that you would change in the movie, Raleigh, and I'll give one of mine, and then after that we can talk about the finale and the big realization of what's going on with the Master Emerald.
Oh, something that I would change. Kind of hard to say.
I know for me, the thing that I would change, and I mentioned it on the ride back, is the inclusion of top hit songs is fine because that's what Hollywood likes to do. But I really do wish that we have such a huge array of Sonic songs from all these different games, from different forms of media. And I just kind of wish that we got some Sonic music tossed into the mix. The only Sonic song that we got in this movie was during the wedding, Tom's phone goes off and Sonic's calling him. And the phone...
I think it's Sonic 2.
It's like one of the Sonic theme songs from the Sonic 2. And which is great. It's a great addition. And obviously I'm not sitting here asking for an 8-bit rendition tossed into a live action movie, but it was nice, at least in the first movie, hearing Green Hill's smooth, jazzy piano version at the end of the first movie. So I kind of wish we got a little bit more, especially in the action sequences. Whenever we got the segment where he was going down the hill on a snowboard, if we got some, Crush 40 playing, that'd be sick. Or even if we got something out of one of the games where it's just a little bit more exciting, ska or like rock mix, that'd be awesome. I would definitely appreciate that.
Something that blends in with what the games are all about.
Yeah.
The speed and things like that. I agree. Music choices, like, they just go too much into like the party bop and old, like, 80s rock, which is okay. I love it, but I feel like you need to fit the music that comes with these games, and more techno and things like that, more electronic beats would be really cool, just to kind of give that flow. I don't know what I would honestly change. Like,
I know we touched up on the Jim Carrey stuff and his Robotnik, and then we had obviously we had this the music section of the movie maybe being tweaked a bit here and there. But anything else?
I mean, I really enjoyed the little things that they kind of kept up with the games. They had a lot of instances of Sonic being underwater, can't breathe. He actually swallowed a bubble so he can stay underwater even longer.
Yeah, that was so good.
They had Knuckles climbing a wall, like a rock climbing area. And they had Tails obviously flying on his with his tails, twin tails. So like, there's a lot of inferences from the game that's really in this film that I really enjoyed. They had the Master Emerald, which was really cool. They did tweak a little bit of the lore, but I think it's fine. The way they did it still made sense and still made things happen, and we'll talk about that when we talk about the finale of the movie. Obviously, like I said, Gun was really cool. That just introduced them. Even though they're minor, but they can really take the third movie pretty far when it comes to the legitimacy of what's gonna happen, and what they can do, and what's gonna happen to Sonic and the rest of them. But yeah, I mean, I think I wish the town was in it a little bit more. I know maybe like just a couple more scenes. Like the town, I felt really made it in the first movie. Obviously, even Tom or Donut Lord in this movie wasn't that big of a deal. I feel like Maddie did more in this movie, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of did less. Like it's maybe it's me, because I understand that people don't want to take away the focus from the three characters. But there is like this one scene that's just dragged on. Like this wedding scene is dragged on a little too much. I feel like the sister of Maddie gets a lot more screen time in this film than in the first one, and I was like, shave a little bit of that off, give it to some jokes from the crowd or from the town. I would have been happy. But other than that, like I said, everything was really good, and the action scenes are really good, and the characters look great. It's such a turnaround from when we first saw Sonic as the crappy design that they made, and now 2 films in, and it's really good. I wish the games were just as. Honestly, I just wish the games.
Yeah, now that you mention it, I totally forgot that the first movie had that shitty ass design. Like it's come up so high on like this Sonic franchise, the live action so far. These 2 movies are some of the best video game adaptations like ever, and it's so crazy that we could have got something terribly like worse. And I totally forgot that we had that monstrosity of a Sonic in the first trailer that we got.
They're about to release it too. We were about to get it, and then they're like, "All right, give us a couple of months, we'll fix it." Mm-hmm. And they fixed it, and they fixed it really well. Like, it actually is really good the way they did it. So, great movie, honestly, 20 out of 10 for me.
Yeah. So going into the finale of the movie, so just a real quick refresher on how everything unfolds. Sonic gets attacked at the house. He's watching the house while the mom and dad, Tom and Maddie, they go to Hawaii. And that's when we get the scene where Knuckles shows up. Do I look like I need your power? All that stuff. And Tails shows up at the same time to save Sonic from Knuckles. They take off in a car. And the whole plot starts to unfold that during that confrontation, Eggman finds out about the Master Emerald because Knuckles mentioned it. And Sonic finds out from the map that Longclaw gave him in the first movie that the Emerald is actually on Earth, and the map was a hologram of Longclaw telling Sonic, "Hey, this is what I want you to do, and I hope Earth is treating you well, and you need to track down the Master Emerald and protect it from people who might use it for evil." And so Sonic and Tails go out to find the compass. The map shows where to go for the compass, which is like, I believe, Siberia is what they said. And so they go to Siberia and they try to find the compass, and they end up the compass gets taken away by Knuckles and Eggman in that confrontation. And Tails ends up getting knocked out by one of the rockets that goes off nearby. And that all leads to going to Hawaii because they need to get saved. That's when Gun gets introduced. And then it leads all the way up to Knuckles and Eggman find the Master Emerald in what essentially looks like the big ancient ruins that you get in Sonic Adventure 2, but instead of it being on an island, it's submerged underwater. And there's the compass itself opens the way, and it's like this Atlantis-looking ancient ruin that's the water spreads for it to be seen by everybody. It looked really, really cool. I think the whole temple part was really well done. There was a lot of sections where Eggman and Knuckles were going through the temple, avoiding booby traps, and of course Sonic goes in there and he just boosts right through everything, and he's like, "Oh, you guys took the long way," like, haha, and he's all beat up and he kind of has like twigs and stuff in his hair, and they all get to the shrine where the emerald's at. And so we find out that the emerald, actually, Brawl, you can explain it. So the emerald has what in it?
So the Master Emerald is something that Knuckles has been looking for, and they have inside the Master Emerald is the 7 Chaos Emerald. So at one point in the story, the emerald breaks, and you can see all the emeralds come out of it, the Chaos Emeralds, and they're very small. I mean, it's whatever. Like Vash was pointing out to me on the car ride back that the size kind of changes with the Master Emerald, from shot to shot, at different points. So I'm just kind of like, okay, whatever. But they literally look like little marbles that you can like fit in one hand. And so, yeah, it breaks, and the whole lore with the Master Emeralds, it takes over. If a good person gets it's gonna spread peace, and if a bad person gets it, it's gonna take over the universe. Something grand scheme like that. So that's why Eggman betrays Knuckles and grabs it and uses it for himself. And so at that point, Eggman thinks he's won because he pretty much stepped on Sonic and Maddie and Tom, and the Emeralds are there. And I think I don't remember if it was like right before it happens, but the Chaos Emeralds pretty much power up Sonic or go into Sonic, and we get the reveal of Sonic, Super Sonic, the gold form, the one that if you guys play the games, it's the one where you collect all the emeralds and you become Super Saiyan. I'm just gonna say it because that's where it came from,
yeah. 7 Dragon Balls, 7 Chaos Emeralds.
It's a big Dragon Ball thing. 7 Chaos Emeralds. I
think something that Broly glossed over a little bit that was a crazy reveal that was like, what the hell, was when they're in the in the ancient ruins, Sonic and Knuckles are having their showdown, and Eggman all the time, all the while, is going back and he's gonna take the emerald. And Sonic's like, Knuckles, like, look out, like, Eggman's gonna take the emerald, and he's like, you think I'm gonna fall for that? And he's like, no, dude, like, look. And Knuckles turns around, and Eggman's there reaching for it, and he's just like, oh, friends are just a tool, blah, blah, blah. They're not needed, all you need is power. And so Eggman actually reaches for the Master Emerald, and he picks it up, and he says, like, something like immeasurable chaos, or like pure chaos. And he absorbs the emerald. His eyes turn green, and it goes into his body. And Eggman becomes this like deity of just pure power, and it's so
He calls it
like
chaos. He calls it chaos, which is really weird.
yeah, he called it. He said it was just chaos power or something like that. But his suit turns green. He's still in human form, but his eyes are green. His suit's green, and he basically for the the next part of the movie, he just becomes Magneto. Like he just controls
Yeah.
all the metal around him, and it also has more than that. He can do like electricity. He can feel electricity and
He
stuff
can
like that.
teleport. He can
And it's just
levitate.
really crazy to think about Eggman becoming one with the Master Emerald.
Yeah.
And so Eggman, that's how he ends up assembling the big egg,
I guess Death Egg. I
the
don't know. I don't know
the
what
big
we call
Death Egg
it.
robot that you see in
Yeah.
the trailer. The big tornado with the green energy, that's Eggman creating the robot.
When he first gets into the robot, it's so cool because they have like the silhouette of the symbol like in the background, and it shows like the head and it shows the big mustache, and it looks so cool. Like I really like the way the design of the Death Egg came about, and him using it was kind of, I guess it's kind of cool. Like I don't know what I was expecting. Like I knew it was coming. I knew it was the final boss of the film, or or it was strongly hinted that that was the final boss of the film. But I don't know. It was kind of like it never really got going for me. I don't know if you feel the same way, Bash, but like it just felt like he was doing things, but it's Eggman being super quirky and zany, and he would like, oh, let me walk with my fingers, and that's how I move my robot legs, or let me act like a big monster and be like, roar, and just like swing, or let me shoot lasers out of my snot, or whatever, like little kid stuff. And it's like I get it, but it's like if you're gonna get this power, and you want me to believe that this power is some big ancient power that controls the universe and whatever, I would have wanted him to be a little more serious, just a tad more, especially in his death thing. Maybe a little bit more destruction, maybe something. But we don't really get that. But it's okay.
Yeah, for me, my explanation for why, like, I think that it worked out well because Eggman ended up in the first movie on a mushroom planet, so he doesn't have all the abilities. I mean, all the robots and the technology and the money at his disposal anymore. So him coming back into the second movie and ending up with a big robot, it makes sense because he had the power of the Chaos Emerald to do what he does best. He wanted to power a machine that he probably never could have normally, and so him constructing a robot with the power of the Master Emerald is it makes sense to what he wants to do, and he wants to just show how powerful and how intelligent and how supreme he is compared to everybody else. So he makes this big ass robot. And I do think that while his fight with the trio, and we get a money shot, we get a badass moment where Knuckles, Tails, and Sonic are standing side by side in the city, and it looks amazing. It looks so cool, and they're all running along next to each other, making a plan. And it was amazing. It was so cool to see them all on screen together, working together. And before I go into more about how I feel about the final fight, I do want to say that the transition from Knuckles being an enemy to a friend, I feel like it was handled pretty well. It was maybe on the more obvious side, because you would have moments where Sonic gave up the compass to save Tails, and Knuckles says it out loud. He's like, oh, he saved the fox instead of, worrying about the Master Emerald. And then Robotnik's like, yeah, look at what a chump, like actually caring about his friends, like who does that? And then they take off, and you can see Knuckles kind of think about it. He's like, And so it was like naturally progressive with Knuckles about.
It was definitely progressive. It started from the beginning. It started from when they first were interacting, and how he was like hinting at like, well, why are you disloyal to your friend, to Mr. Stone? And he's just like, that's just how I roll.
Yeah.
And so he I think at the end of the day, Knuckles was focused on his goals. But once Eggman took the Master Emerald and Sonic saved his life underwater, kind of just made him say, you know what, like, because his whole reasoning is, you're friends with the enemy that wiped out my tribe. and you guys are the bad guys, Sonic. Like, he's always been wanting to kill Sonic and avenge his clan. And Sonic tells him, like, look, I lost everything too that day as well. You're not the only one that lost everything. So they kind of just get to this understanding. Like I said in the beginning of the podcast, they are all experiencing loneliness in some sort of fashion, some way. And that's been the kind of like the theme of the first two movies, to be honest. Because the first movie was just like that. Sonic was alone and he wanted family, and he got it. And now it's kind of like everyone else is like, oh, I wish Sonic had friends, like that were like him, because he seems really lonely. And then this film kind of filled that gap, or that that void of his now having people to rely on. And so Tails is lonely and found Sonic, and now Knuckles is pretty much alone, and he can at least compare himself with Sonic as well. I did feel it was kind of weird, because it was like he was kind of holding out on still being mad at him, but then like the ending was like, oh, they're all buddies and going get ice cream and stuff.
Yeah, so we got a really good scene of Knuckles is just such an endearing character towards the end of the movie. You really feel for him, and we even get a scene where we get a little baby Knuckles, like kind of like not baby Knuckles, but we get like child Knuckles interacting with his dad, and that was really cool. But yeah, we get a really charming scene at the end of the movie where they're all playing baseball together with Tom and Maddie, and it was cute.
I just don't buy Tails' backstory. I think it's just big bullshit. Like who is gonna hate on Tails? Like, oh, they hate me when I have two tails. Like, okay, like that was such. Like, I think his was like the weakest one, but it was like I did like that he's like, oh, I'm not a field agent. I'm not good, and I just came here to warn you. And Sonic just said, no, you're coming with me. I'll protect you. Don't worry. And then they kind of had this buddy kind of journey, and it was cool. Mm-hmm. But I just don't buy the whole like, oh, I was alone and people made fun of me. I was like, bullshit. That guy's the most lovable character in the goddamn. 100%.
Yeah, Tails is cool. Also, before I talk about the last fight again, we did get a really cool scene where Sonic's on Hawaii, and he's looking across to the green pillar of the sky, and that's where he knows where he has to go. But it's like 1,000 miles away, like across water. And we get this like pretty badass scene where Sonic's testing his limits in a way where he's running along the top of the water. He's running into the ocean. He can't swim, so he's running into the ocean, and he's just like, I just gotta go fast, and he just starts booking it. And you get this like really cool thing where he's like battling the waves, and he's running up and down the currents. And towards the end of it, like he's pushing his limits, but he does get swirled up by another huge wave. But he just lucks out and ends up on the shore of the island that leads to the green pillar. But I thought that scene was really cool. Just visually, it looked badass. And yes, the fight with Sonic and Knuckles was really cool. There was a really cool move that I don't know if it was a reference to the part where Sonic he does his like bounce in Sonic Adventure 2, but he does an attack on Knuckles where Knuckles is on the ground and Sonic's in a ball, and he starts like going down over and over and over like 4 times.
I don't know if he does that move in any other game.
Yeah,
kind of like pretty much only in Sonic Adventure 2. So, I mean, you can kind of see it as like a homing, but not really.
Yeah, I think the move's in Generations, but I'm not sure. But but yeah, it was cool. He had that move. Knuckles was doing like a flurry of punches that Sonic was dodging, and we even get the little. It was like a sideways one, but we get like a little Knuckles twirl that he does in Adventure 2 where he's digging. Yeah, he does it like sideways when he's fighting some of the robots, or I think he's getting rid of some metal or something. But yeah, I think when it comes to Eggman in the Death Egg robot, I think that it was handled well enough that where it was menacing, he was destroying stuff, he was giving problems to Sonic with the laser eyes, and I really like that scene where Sonic was crossing the bridge and he's like, oh, I gotta blow out my nose, and it's like a laser comes out of the nose. I think that was pretty funny, and it's in tune with Eggman controlling a robot and not being, not just shooting unlimited bullets or something like that. He's just trying to like hit Sonic or smash him or squish him or something like that. Right. But yeah, so the movie does end up as Broly says. The Master Emerald is tossed out of Eggman because the whole plan that the trio had was that Sonic was going to distract Eggman, make him follow him out into the forest in the big robot. And while that was happening, Knuckles and Tails were going to infiltrate and try to get Eggman from the inside. And so Sonic is taking off and he's getting overwhelmed. And then at the last moment, Knuckles and Tails pretty much carves away into like the top of the egg, Death Egg. And he goes in there with his clones. Knuckles goes in there, and Knuckles jumps up and punches Robotnik in the stomach, and the emerald pops out of his back, basically. And so it's on the ground nearby Sonic. Sonic's injured, and he's trying to walk over to it, trying to grab it. And Tom and Maddie show up in a truck to save Sonic from one final like stomp of Robotnik. Because even though Robotnik didn't have the Master Emerald anymore inside of him, he had like backup generators to get the robot to still move and function. And so he's about to kill Sonic, and we think it's all over because Maddie, Tom, and Sonic are holding each other with the Master Emerald. And the Master Emerald actually crumbles in Sonic's hands. He's like, no, what's going on? And you see the little Chaos Emeralds pop out of it. And in the very last moment, they kind of light up and they swirl, and the foot comes down from the robot. And then next thing you know, Super Sonic is there. And it looks so good. It has the red eyes. It has the hair up. And Super Sonic just kind of pushes the leg away, and he flies up and stares at Robotnik through the thing. And he's blocking punches from the robot. And he like basically melts the head to make it fall off, where he could see Eggman one-on-one just on top of the robot. Yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much Eggman's demise. Sonic starts going through and just punching holes in the robot over and over and over, and then he kicks it down. And Eggman's like, really? Like, that's, I thought we were friends. I guess not. And he like falls back. And this is another thing. It's just like a bunch of like one-liners coming from Eggman and stuff. But as he's falling, he's just like, later, haters. And it's just kind of like, yeah, you didn't need to say that. But it just...
A lot of it's unnecessary.
Yeah, it's just unnecessary like quips and stuff that maybe didn't need to be there all the time. But that's the last time we see Eggman, because in the post-credit scene we have Gunn fixing up the damage, and one of the lieutenants or whatever, they say, "Oh, there's no sign of Eggman. We can't find him." And the main commander guy, the gray-haired guy, he's like, "Well, nobody would survive that kind of damage, that kind of fall. Like, Eggman's done." And then that's the end of that. But then we see Dr. Stone. He's dressed as one of the Gun henchmen, or the officers, and he pulls down his mask to like look over so you can reveal that it's Dr. Stone. I don't know why I keep calling him Dr. Stone. I think he's just an assistant. And then the lieutenant that's there, she's like, "Oh, and while we were wiping all of the data on Robotnik, we found something, sir." And he's like, "What's that?" And she's like, 50 years ago, there was an experiment, blah, blah, blah. And then we kind of get a cutaway to this red light coming from a circular device in the ground. And it's rising slowly. And then the commander guy says shadow. And we get a long pan from foot to like his eyes of Shadow's model.
That's not what I remember. They said coordinates. They're like, "Oh, we found coordinates." And they go to the sky, and it's like something beeping from the sky, like art, and that's where you see Shadow. I don't remember them going around.
I would have to double check. I'm pretty sure that it was just a cutaway to the like segment. I think the only time we went to space was when Eggman got his egg from space from the satellite that Stone summons. But we could be wrong. Maybe it is Arc. I'm not sure. But
that's why I was like, because they had to get coordinates.
It was kind of hard to hear that section because the crowd started popping off.
Yeah,
myself included. Like everybody in the theater were all like getting really really hype and excited whenever we already knew that we were hinting at Shadow. Like once he said 50 years ago, we got coordinates on this thing. Everyone started freaking out. So we couldn't really hear what they said exactly at that ending. So I'll have to check that out either online or watch the movie again, which I probably will.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get a full reveal of Shadow, and I could not believe it. I thought that if anything, I thought if we got a reveal, it was either going to be Metal Sonic or maybe something dealing with the
Name
chaos,
drop.
or even chaos, or yeah, even just a name drop. Maybe they were just going to say Shadow, and then it was just going to be like his foot or his like glove, or maybe just one eye opening. But we got the whole character, and he looks sick. Me and Brawley were talking about it on the way home, and we were like, I wonder who would voice Shadow. And my dream pick would be Christian Bale. I think that'd be awesome. I think Christian Bale would be such a good fit for Shadow. And then if you guys are familiar with Howl's movie Castle, he's actually the voice for Howl. So if you watch that movie and you listen to that voice, I can kind of see that transferring to Shadow in some way. But Brawley, who would you want as Shadow if you could?
John Cena.
John Cena? Are you kidding me?
Let's have John Cena do it.
No, we're not gonna have John Cena as Shadow. Get out of here. You're
That'd be
ridiculous.
so sick.
No.
Thank you.
Oh shit.
Those
So
that support
funny.
it, that'd be so sick.
Not John. There we go. See? Boom.
What?
Legend of V in the chat just popped in, and they were like, "I support that." Not the John Cena one though.
Oh.
I think, yeah. So does it. But yeah, I think Christian Bale would be an awesome pick. I really don't know off the top. I would have to really think about it if I want other picks to be in there. But I just the first one that comes out to me is Christian Bale. I think it'd be awesome.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think it'd be cool. I mean, I don't really have someone in mind that I would like on top of my head pick. I said Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan would be cool, just because I mean I'm a huge Winter Soldier fan, and he did a great job as Bucky Barnes. So I think I mean maybe he could make a cool Shadow. I think.
It's because like the thing that's to me it doesn't matter. Is I would never in a million years pick Idris Elba as Knuckles. I just wouldn't. Like in my mind, I'm like, okay. When I saw that, I was like, what? And then I listened to his voice, and I was kind of like, this doesn't really match. But it's not like it was something that messed the character up. I felt like I went along with it, and I knew it was him talking all the time. But it wasn't something that was like, man, this is like so out of character for Knuckles. I was like, he did a good job. I mean, was it perfect? No, but it was great. It was good enough to where I wouldn't mind hearing him in another movie or you know.
I think that's where Brawley and I disagree. I think that the voice matches really, really well, and it gives that ferocity to Knuckles that I wanted. I really think that the voice was pretty much perfect. The only thing that I would say about Knuckles that I hope the next movie introduces is that since he's going away from being an outer space, echidna on Earth, and most of the way he speaks is that of an ancient warrior. So his speech is a little broken up, and he's a little bit more kind of refined with his words. I hope he gets modernized in a way in the next movie where he speaks a little bit more fluently and not so tribal that he does in this movie. But either way, I think that keeping to his roots and being where he's from and how he's introduced, I think that he fits really, really well. I think he's awesome, and it sounds awesome to me at least. But all right, that's pretty much everything about the movie that we could think of. Was there anything you wanted to end it on, Brawley, or anything you want to say before we wrap it up?
Well, I'm excited for Sonic 3. I have some theories on how it's gonna start. Just how the story will be written. Obviously, and unfortunately, we're gonna see Maria die again. Which is very sad because we've seen it so many times. I'm praying to the gods of all gods that Shadow picks up a gun, because that'll be hilarious.
Do you think it's gonna go one or two ways? Either Shadow's gonna pick up a gun for a moment and use it, or is Shadow gonna pick up a gun, look at it, and be like, "I don't need this, pathetic."
He's gonna be, "I don't need this." It's always gonna be a tease. I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I was also right again before I continue. They mentioned Olive Garden twice, so I won.
Brawley told me on the right there, he's like, how many times are they going to mention Olive Garden? And I was like, I think they might move on. They might not mention it. And they did. They mentioned it twice. We got to go to Olive Garden next time.
Yeah,
I think when Sonic 3 comes out, we're going to go to Olive Garden like the day before or something.
For sure. We're sitting here. by gun director or whatever. It just opens up a lot of things. I'm excited for Sonic 3. I don't know what the chat feels or how other people feel about if they're gonna show off Amy. Should Amy show up anytime soon or not? Omega, I don't know if Omega should show up or not, or I don't think Omega's gonna be a thing because I just feel like he should have been a thing already. It'll be interesting the way Robotnik it comes out is used in the third movie. I could honestly see Sonic 3 being very Adventure 2, almost step by step, at least the way Shadow's introduced, because he is like locked up. He is in this, compartment or like this, like cell or prison. So someone has to release Shadow. So I do think it's gonna be Eggman. It could definitely be, something tied with the Chaos Emerald. They broke out. They were just thrown out after Sonic summoned the chili dog, which was hilarious. And
oh yeah, there's one more scene that we can say before we move on, or before we go to our review or the scoring. I think it's so hilarious that Sonic goes into Supersonic, and so Tom and Maddie are running up. They're like, "Oh my God, Sonic! Like you did it!" Blah blah blah. And Knuckles stops them, and they're like, Knuckles is like, "No, like he's not the Sonic you once knew. He's now got the power of the Master Emerald and all that." And then Sonic puts his hand up, and it's like a lightning bolt strikes from his finger into the sky, and clouds start to swirl, and it becomes very ominous. And then it just like shoots down into his hand, and it's a fucking perfectly made chili dog. And Sonic's like, "Oh God, you guys gotta try this!" Blah blah. And he summons another one, and it hits Knuckles in the face. And it's like, it was so perfect. It was such a good.
It's so fun.
You have the power of the universe in your hand, and he fucking makes a damn chili dog.
Yeah. So so once he dispels the power of Supersonic, the emeralds fly up and are basically like the Dragon Balls. They go up in the air and then they separate. So I think it could be a cool tie-in. Maybe that awakens Shadow. I don't think it'll be the reason why he's unlocked, because he does open his eye. So that could be the reason why he wakes up, because of the Chaos Emerald. You have to remember his power is using the Chaos Emerald, the Chaos Control. So it could be a lot of things. We might get Rouge the Bat. I'm gonna say we don't, but who knows? Like it's gonna be pretty crazy to see what they introduce in the next movie. Yeah, I know they're already doing filming and stuff like that.
If my theory is that one of the Chaos Emeralds that flew, because Sonic gives up the power, Tails says like, "Oh, why'd you give up all that power, like all that stuff?" And Sonic's just like, "Oh, I just want, I don't need it. Like I just want to take care of my friends, and my basic friends are my power," sort of deal. And and what was it? My theory is that one of the Chaos Emeralds is gonna jumpstart Shadow's kind of like quest in the next movie. And he's gonna have that first Chaos Emerald introduced to him by either somebody from Gun or even Robotnik maybe, and that's gonna be his way of getting Chaos Control really early in the movie to kind of be dominant over Sonic. But that's my theory, at least. It could lead into so many different ways. Shadow literally could just be a freaking lapdog for Gun for a good bit of the movie if they wanted. I really don't know, but yeah, for me, I think if I were to rate this movie alongside the sequel, alongside the original movie, I think like it's equally as enjoyable. And I don't remember what exactly I gave that rating, but I'm just gonna say it was probably like an 8 or a 9 for me, just when it comes to consistency with the first movie. Like it's equally as enjoyable, just as fun, just as nostalgic. It hits the same marks of like. I found humor in most of the scenes. I found really cool references. The story was great. I really, really liked that scene with Sonic and Tails in the bar or the tavern that they ended up at. And Knuckles just did a great job. So for me, I'm probably going to give it like an 8, an 8.5 around there.
Yeah, I mean, I always give these movies an added star just because these are video game movies and you expect them to fail. You expect them to be really bad or inconsistent to what they were. You know, Halo series. But I really enjoyed this movie just as I enjoyed the first one. Obviously, the first one it kind of has a little bit of an edge over the second one just because it's the first time you're like holding your breath, hoping Sonic is good, and then it becomes really good, and jokes hit really well, the action's really well, and all the actors played their parts really well. So this is just a continuation, and everyone did their thing. You do see the progress of Sonic from where he was as a kid. He's still being treated as a kid, but now he's understanding responsibility and what friends are like and things like that. So I think that's really, something that's really, really cool. You got pretty much a lot of the things answered to what we were hoping for. We got Sonic, we got Chaos Emeralds, Master Emerald, we got Knuckles, we got Tails, we got Eggman, looking like Eggman from the games and stuff. Death Egg, things like that. And then we got Shadow at the end. I think, Shadow also adds another layer because that reveal is so good.
Yep.
And he's a character that's like closely tied to Vegeta if you watch Dragon Ball, where you have fun and you enjoy Goku, and Goku's this fun-loving character, and he's really optimistic and the hero. And then you have Vegeta, who's kind of like just as strong, just as power, and fights really well, and is the foil. He's the villain. He's the dark side of it. And I mean, obviously, we know where this leads, and Shadow leads in the same spot. Who knows, right? If you guys play Sonic Adventure 2, you know how that game ends. So I don't know where it's gonna go. I don't know if there's gonna be more movies after the 3. I mean, I hope they keep us in the dark for that if they do. But this movie was really good. I give it a 9.5. The joke one is 20 out of 10 because I left the movie like super satisfied with it. But 9.5 out of 10 for me. Really, really good. If you're into the video game movie, if you're into the Sonic lore and the franchise, this was a home run for sure.
Awesome. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it from us. That's our rating. Is how we felt about the movie. This is going up on YouTube, so for those of you who are in my Twitch stream when I did this, thank you for hanging out with us and listening to us talk about the movie. And those of you on YouTube, thank you so much for watching this far if you did. I know myself, I'm probably just gonna end the night probably playing a Sonic game. I don't know which one, but I just want to load up and probably Mania if anything. I'll probably just play like a couple levels of Mania just to kind of get that vibe out there. But thank you again, Broly, for hanging out with me, watching the movie, and having the discussion. I appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully we get to see you guys in the next movie review. I'm not sure what the next one. Probably Doctor Strange is the next big one that we're gonna watch and want to do a review for and stuff.
Dumbledore, I guess. I don't know if we want to do it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not as like up to snuff on all that, so I don't think I'd be adding much to it. But Doctor Strange for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out. Later.
Peace.